Hey guys, it's David here, and I'm in a familiar location. I'm home on winter break, so y'all get the vintage Circle No Star background that you haven't seen since the beginning of my semester at school. I'm here today to bash Les Mis the movie, and I know that apparently I'm the only person on earth that hated it, but I'm going to continue in this video to back up my opinions because this is my channel, and none of y'all can tell me what to do, or what to think, okay? To preface this review, before I say anything, my main issues with the movie lied with the direction, and any criticism I have of the performers or anything, excluding Russell Crowe as Javert because he was just plain awful, and that's unforgivable, and I don't give a crap who the director is, that was miscast, but my main issues were with the direction, so that's what I'm going to be focusing on in this review. So I went into this movie after having experienced the same advertising and promotional bullshit that everyone had to endure before seeing this damn movie, and I knew that it was going to be a giant universal machine, big blockbuster thing, so I was kind of ready for that. And from the first shot, my feelings were confirmed because it was this giant crane shot, very obviously CGI crane shot of the ships. And I was just thinking to myself, it's almost 2013 and these ships look like they're like 2004 CGI. And all of the effects got worse as the movie went on. The green screen work was amateurish at best. And like the shots like when he tore up his whatever, the ticket or the contract and threw it, and then there were just CGI papers and the crane shot. It was very cheesy, poorly done CGI. And then aside from these poorly done CGI sweeping shots, the rest of the movie was shot like an indie film. Like it would cut to like a shot of Hugh Jackman with like his head in the corner here and like all of the head space, and then there was like a diagonal shot, and then all of the close-ups obviously during the songs. I just thought that it was very apparent that there were a lot of different hands being put into the directional pot of this movie, and so the giant sweeping shots seemed to be out of place and kind of like forced, and then the weird indie shots seemed to not fit with the grandeur of the story, and it was just altogether the wrong approach in my opinion. My biggest problem with the direction was all of the close-ups during all of the songs and all of the basically the entire movie was close-ups. It was like maybe 4/5 close-ups, and I know that everyone thought it was edgy and emotional and all this bullshit, but honestly, Les Mis is not meant to be whisper sung. Like, I'm not trying to be, like, attached to the original or anything, but, like, it's an opera. Like, all the scenes in the shop where it was a close-up on Anne Hathaway's face and then a close-up on Russell Crowe, and it's just like, well, they're whispering these lines. It doesn't make sense because the scene is incredibly intense, but the camera's right here, so the actors have no choice but to, like, whisper sing this shit, and it was completely awkward. All of the songs were all close-ups. You couldn't see any sets or anything. It was uncomfortable. I don't want to watch someone cry as there's a close-up on them for 3 minutes straight. It doesn't move me. I don't feel any pity or empathy because I'm just looking up their nostrils while they sob for 3 minutes. I don't think that the solution to putting something that's on stage on film is making everything the opposite of on stage. That's not what it's about. It's about telling the story. Like, you don't need to make everything a close-up to make it cinematic. Like, you can make it cinematic in the ways that are innately cinematic, which is, you know, wide shots, maybe. I thought it was manipulative and stupid and over the top and self-indulgent, and it could have been handled in a much more creative way. Personally, that's my opinion. Sort of a connection to that, Anne Hathaway's entire performance pissed me off. And I know that a lot of people loved her, but honestly, after all of the drama about how she like lost so much weight for the role and she cut her hair and she had to get married with her hair short and blah 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 and Oscar nominations, then she's in the movie for like 15 minutes and she's not even giving a dynamic performance. She literally just cried and whined and complained the entire time, which is not how Fantine is, and I'm gonna get like really empty, like, oh, blah, 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 this is how the role, but like, honestly, the way the role is written is that she's a fighter. Like, the way that Anne Hathaway played the role, it did not make sense for her to become a prostitute, because from the very beginning, she had already given up. She was already weak. In the argument with her boss when she's trying to get her job back, she was singing these vicious lines as written, and then in between the lines, apologizing and asking, her interpretation completely didn't make sense, and I think it probably was kind of directional, and it probably was kind of for the cinematic, more vulnerable interpretation of Les Mis, but it literally didn't make sense for the role, because that's not, that character that she was playing in the opening scene when she was wearing that freaking pink dress in The Sea of Blue, which was also a really stupid beat you over the head directional choice. That same character would not then go and become a prostitute and do all this stuff that's like ballsy and gutsy. It just, the arc didn't make sense. And even if it had made sense, it wasn't as moving because you didn't see a fighter being taken down to the point that she gives up. You just saw someone who complains and cries and complains and cries and then eventually dies. And I was waiting for her to die the whole time because she annoyed the fuck out of me. Also, this is kind of a given, but Russell Crowe's Javert was awful and unacceptable. He couldn't sing. It was so auto-tuned and awful, and his acting was boring and simple, boring. My last little favorite directional mishap of the movie, before I get into positive things about it, yes, I do have positive comments on the movie, well, slightly positive, but my favorite laughably bad directional moment of the movie was during On My Own, when the camera's on Eponine and she says the lyrics, "The pavement shines like silver," and the camera just so subtly goes down to the pavement in the background and it's glittering in the moonlight, and then she says, "The lights are misty in the river," and the camera goes up and there's a little light in the background with mist over it, and then she goes behind the wall and she says, "The streets are full of strangers," and a freaking stranger walks by in the background. That is what I call stupid people direction. I didn't need to see that as an audience member. I don't think that anybody needed to see that as an audience member. I think that we kind of got the idea already. In terms of performances, there were obviously some really good ones. Hugh Jackman is great and everything. I have so much respect for him as an actor. I think that he did a great job. There were some weird moments, but I can kind of chalk those up to direction because everything else was great from him. I think the girl who played Eponine was great. I didn't have any real issues with her. Amanda Seyfried, or is it, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but mean girl, she was fine. Her vibrato is so weird, so weird and so fast, but whatever. Obviously Helena Bonham Carter and Sacha Baron Cohen, like, duh. I mean, like, honestly, Helena was my favorite part of the movie, and it's just because she was doing the same thing she's been doing for, like, the past decade. But I knew going in that she was well cast and that she would be funny, and she was, so, like, it was nice. I did think that the live singing was a good choice on the filmmaker's part, and although they made a big deal about it being the first ever live singing, did anybody remember Across the Universe, because they sang live on set on that film too, but nobody wanted to mention it when they were doing the big Les Mis promo. So not the first movie to have live singing on set for a mainstream movie musical, just saying. But that aside, I did think that it served the conversational singing, it allowed the actors to make choices in the moment, and I thought that it was mainly all good. The only issue that I had with it was that there's a reason that things are pre-recorded before the actors sing on set, and I'm not going to complain about the sound of the actors' voices because that was actually the least of my complaints, except for Russell Crowe as Javert because, as I said, can't sing. But there are some things that when an actor sings, they can get away with when they're on stage, like the movement of their jaw, if they are a jaw vibrato singer, and I am referring to the dude who played Marius, whose name I do not know and I don't want to look up. I was very distracted by his mouth area whilst singing and head shaking. I know that that's picky, but it's like there are some reasons that singing live doesn't work on film, and that is one of them. I just found it very distracting. Another little picky note, it was really obvious when they had dubbed over notes, just saying. I mean, I don't know if anybody else caught that, but like 24601, that shit was not live. But mostly I thought the live singing was good, and that's how movie musicals should always be shot, in my opinion. And it's very obvious to me when it's pre-recorded and the actor is acting something that they sang in a studio 2 months ago, and it seems very after the fact. So I'm happy with them singing live. I think that was a good call, and hooray for that. Overall, I didn't like this movie. I'm so sorry. I know that so many of you loved it. I just thought it dragged on and on and on. It was just close-up after close-up after close-up of this complaining, crying, acting. Oh, I didn't even mention the song that they added suddenly, that they added just so that they could get the nomination for Best Original Song and whatever, but that was also awful. And I actually just saw an amazing movie called Anna Karenina, and you should see it if you haven't, and my dad also saw it, and I saw Les Mis with my dad, and after the movie he said something that was very true. He said that Les Mis was everything Anna Karenina was not, and that I couldn't have put it better, because those 2 hours and 30 minutes when I saw Anna Karenina flew by, like in a second, in terms of like the visual art and the cinematography and everything. Like, Les Mis just, it was a swing and a miss in my opinion. I thought it was the complete wrong way to handle that story and that text and those characters and everything. So I'm sorry, but that is just how I feel. Hopefully some of you agree with me. Maybe one person, 1.5 persons Maybe. Thanks for stopping by in my home for this video. I don't know if my other videos are going to be filmed in here or if I'm going to film one in New York or whatever, but it'll be up in the air. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys very soon. Okay, bye! This movie was like schizophrenic. Like the director, I shouldn't say that, that's offensive. Universal, giant blockbuster, commercial rape. So, oh, you can't make jokes about rape. God damn it.